Hello, my name is Sergey Vashchenko and this is Magento 2 testing and optimization video course. The first section is dedicated to automated testing. And in this section, we'll take a look at unit integration, web API, functional, static and performance tests. But the first video I would like to reserve for introduction. And in this video, we'll take a look on module that we'll use for testing coverage and get familiar with Magento automated test structure and configuration. Here I have Magento 2 version 2.1.5 installed via Composer, and I already created a test module for test coverage. Module is called Lucky Order and it's inspired by St. Patrick's Day. The idea of this module is to identify if order placed in Magento is lucky or not, and the core functionality implemented in Lucky Info model. This model has just one public function called isAmountLucky. It accepts float amount, separates amount to integer and decimal part, and compares sums of digits. If sums are equal, the amount is considered as lucky. This model is used in order success block that outputs congratulations if grand total of recent order is lucky, empty string otherwise. Here how it looks like for lucky order. Additionally, the model contains API interface allowing to identify if order is lucky by order ID, the implementation of this interface, and web API configuration. Finally, the model also contains layout that renders order success block on checkout one page success page. So this module is small, however it's enough for experiments with all types of tests in Magento. Now let's take a look on tests. Configuration for all tests in Magento 2 is located on dev tests directory. As you can see, here are IP functional configuration and framework, functional tests configuration, integration tests, JS components for static tests, and unit tests. So basically, all tests are separated from framework from modules implementation except of unit tests. If you go to any Magento module, for example, vendor Magento, you'll see test directory inside module and unit inside test. And here we have all unit tests for this module. This rule is followed by all modules, so unit tests are located inside module distribution. That is not the same for all other tests. For example, static tests are located under dev tests static test suite. However, static tests are type of tests that are the same for all modules, so in this case it's logical. Integration tests are also located under dev tests integration test suite. The same for functional tests. It's under tests directory. The framework for functional tests is stored in separate repository, and we'll talk about it later. And API functional tests are located under dev tests API functional test suite directory. As you might notice, each type of test has PHP unit XML dist file in its root. And this file is showing the basic configuration and options that you can use for running those tests. Each PHP unit XML dist for each type of test is a bit different. Take a look on all configuration files to see which options you have for each test type. So, to run tests from PHP Storm, you have to go to Configurations, go to PHP Unit section, open Configuration pop-up, and specify first pass to PHP Unit executable or autoloader. In our case, we would like to use PHP Unit installed from Composer, so I'm specifying Composer autoloader, and default configuration file. While PHP Unit is used for all types of tests, and each type of test is depending on the same version of PHP Unit, the one thing that should be changed, switching from one type of test to another, is configuration file. So here I have a default configuration file for unit tests. However, when I switch to integration, I will have to change the path here to integration, or even remove this if I will customize PHP Unit XML, customize the tests configuration and use it here. Basically, after setting up path to PHP Unit executable or autoload and correct path to configuration file, you are able to run tests from PHP Unit. No more configuration required. Alternatively, you can go to command line and run any types of tests using just bare PHP Unit. For example, let's use PHP Unit from our Composer installation. It's in vendor directory. So vendor, PHP Unit, and once again PHP Unit. We have to specify config file. Let's say -c dev tests unit PHP Unit XML. So here we are running PHP Unit based on PHP Unit XML dist from unit directory, and it should start running all unit tests in Magento. However, we will not wait for tests to be executed. We'll just stop this process. The other way to run tests is to call bin Magento dev tests run command. And if we specify -h argument, we should see which type of tests we can run. So first is all, and then we have options for different types of tests. Just unit, integration, static, integrity, legacy, and default. We'll talk about each type of tests later in this tutorial. And in the next video, we'll start writing unit tests.